to a video on proportional reasoning, and we have a bunch of these videos, and they're really, I think these kind of problems can be interesting. This is a pretty typical sample. It's coming from just a 6th grade sample from New York State, and I think the general theme here is that they'll give us a situation with some ratio. Here we're told 3 out of 5, or some type of fraction, and then we have to figure out, well, based on this ratio, if we have some other number, here 15, how many of the other category will we have? So here, let me break that down. Mary picks 15 flowers from her garden. So we're picking 15 flowers. And we know that 3 out of 5, 3 out of, we'll use this symbol here for a ratio, out of 5. And remember, a ratio just means we're comparing this part to this part right here. And we can think of this also as a fraction, right? 3 out of 5. These are the same thing written in different ways. I prefer the ratio because sometimes when we see the fraction, you are tempted to see this as 3/5, which it is, but it's nicer when you have a proportion to view these fractions not as a total sometimes, but as 2 separate parts. So 3 for every 5. And I think for me it's more obvious in this ratio. So instead of thinking of it as one number, 0.6, I think of it as 3 for every 5. And that really helps me. Because in this question, we know 3 out of 5 of these flowers are yellow. So this is the yellow flowers, right? And this is all the flowers. Here, yellow flowers for all the flowers. So how many yellow flowers does Mary pick? Well, if there are 15 flowers in the garden. And this is nice and easy to picture if you write it as a proportion. So you can say, let me just choose a different color here, 3 out of every 5 are yellow. So what if altogether we had 15 flowers? What would this missing part be? And I would call that X. So you might notice, well, first we're given a situation where there are 5 total flowers. Now there are 15 total flowers, and we could realize that, well, to get from 5 to 15, we multiply 5 by 3. And if we're given a more difficult situation and we can't figure out what to multiply by, we could just say, well, 15 divided by 5 is what? That's 3, which means that 5 goes into 15 3 times. Now, since our goal here is to keep this proportion constant, they don't say that. The proportion just says that 2 or more ratios or fractions are equal. Since everything needs to remain the same, we're also going to multiply this part by 3 as well. So it's called scaling up, right? We scale up the 3 and the 5 by a scale factor of 3. So we multiply 3 by the same number, which is 3, and that will give us our mystery number, which is 9. And this relates back to equivalent fractions, right? 3 out of 5 is the same thing as 9 out of 15. How do you know? Well, if we reduce this fraction and we divide it by a common factor, right? We divide both by 3, we would get 3/5. These are just equivalent fractions. Now, proportions can relate a bunch of equivalent fractions, and usually some part is missing, either the numerator or denominator or first part or second part, but we can always use this type of strategy to figure out the missing part. So here the answer is 9. There will be 9 yellow flowers. Okay, I hope that helped, and if you need to reference some more, there's a whole proportion list of videos that I'm making, and you can reference those. Alright, take care.